welcome to another adventure on Riding Through the Unknown. I'm your host, Michael, and tonight's show, I don't normally do this, but I'm going to issue a possible tissue warning because we are going to get a little emotional by the choice of my guest. So we agreed amongst each other to do this. So this is going to be a very special, different type of episode. So I hope you all are ready for this. And without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to my wonderful, amazing, awesome, magnificent. I could keep going, but it's Thanksgiving week, so I'll cut it short. Wonder Twin Sis, Erica.
Hi, thank you so much for having me on again. I really appreciate this.
You're welcome, and I'm glad we could do this, and I'm grateful that you are available on Thanksgiving Eve to do this.
Yeah, I was told to rest my jaw, so I had to cut down, but I don't want to stop talking because that's my mission, so I'm pushing through.
Well, and do you want to give...
Where do you want to dive?
I was going to say, do you want to give the audience a little preview of what's to come, or just dive in?
Just dive in. Let's just go with the flow.
Hi,
right. Lily.
Well, with that, then I am going to start with the first question. When you were a child, how did it go? Can you describe being abducted in detail?
Oh, geez. So I'll start with the Greys, because it was Greys, the military, and reptilian, but the Greys were creepy. This was nearly every night. So me and my sister, we lived out in the country. 17 to 20 acres of vineyards were ours directly around our house, and then everybody else had their vineyards. We were in the middle of nowhere. I mean, the ships that came and took us didn't even need to cloak. Nobody would have seen them. We were so far out in the country. So, and this is how my sister experienced it as well. We originally thought that as kids that in living in the country, things come out at night, bang on your wall. We would hear children's footsteps running on our roof. That was creepy because you can't really, like, we would run in crying and my parents would say, oh, it's just a cat, go back to bed. But I mean, we're talking like you're hearing kids' bare feet. It's different than a cat or a dog on the roof, which we didn't even have. So, what was messed up was that the way they operated back in this early 70s with me and my sister was they would torture us through fear even before beaming us onto the ship. So they would do things like we'd be falling asleep. You would hear baby or like toddler barefoot feet running on the roof. You could hear, it was like a horror movie. You could hear the bare feet slapping against a wall, getting closer and closer to you, but you can't see anything. And, you know, your parents tell you to go to bed. They turn the lights out. So many nights, me and my sister were just clinging to each other. So there was that in which you could hear them coming. And I know there were so many different types of Greys that would pick us up. The other way is that this was eerie. Do you remember the original Dune with the
Oh,
original one
Hawkman.
where that needle comes in through the wall really slow? They would do that. And it would be something that would frighten me, but it would be like an orb, or sometimes they would really want to fuck with me and they would use the device that they were going to take me with, and you would just see this thing come through the wall, be like this, just like in Dune. It would come out, it would levitate, and I'd be sitting in my bed, and as a kid you don't know how to react to these things, and it would just come, it turned, and then it would stop, and I don't remember what it would do after that because I would end up on a ship. um it got scarier. They started doing things like they would knock on our window, they would scratch on our wall, and then I still don't understand the technology. I think it's sound waves, but then they would pull us right back through the wall. We would be outside in our pajamas, and then they would chase us through the vineyards. And I always thought these were bad dreams. Yes, there was dirt in my bed in the morning. Sometimes when they would come in, it would be me and my sister trying to scream at the same time, but they would immediately cut this off. You couldn't scream, you couldn't breathe. It's so sad how I thought that was what every child went through when they went to sleep. I thought every child would be choked, would be levitated, or they just did it in a manner that would terrify us even before. Just terror. They were such, I won't say that word, but another thing, the hardest thing for me was, so all I wanted was my parents to love me and see me and pay attention to me and feed me, and all I wanted was my basic needs met from my parents. All I wanted was parents. All I wanted was that love, that acceptance, and I never got that. Now, it's not their fault. They were young, and they were also used by the Greys and military. So they set these things up so that the parents will not pay attention to the kids, and that so the kids, it's just a lot easier to do whatever they want. The abductions would change, and I think that this had to do with the different types of Greys and different types of programs that they were taking me into. There was a few months where they would just beam me outside. And what was weird was that it would be daytime outside to me, and then they would say, levitate. Like, I want to see how high you can jump and if you can hold yourself. Now, these specific Greys were doing this to see which starseeds or galactic envoys could pilot a craft well. So if you can levitate something, your mind will be really good at easily piloting one of their crafts. And they were small. They used a lot of us, a lot of you, to pilot their ships. The worst one, I think, was I would be falling asleep, and they would just, you could hear the silence of the room change. You could hear, we had those thicker carpets back in the 70s. You could hear the footsteps on the carpet coming towards my bed and coming towards my sister's bed. And I'm sorry, it's just like I couldn't protect her. And that still gets to me. Sorry. The worst one was they would sneak in like that, and then they would let me stay conscious even though I could. They would do this. They would make it so I couldn't speak. I couldn't scream for my parents, which wouldn't have, they were usually partying. What was so messed up, though, was that the biggest abductions were done when my parents were having a lot of people over and partying. Okay, so, no one's paying attention to the kids. They can just walk in and do whatever. They would beam me up through the ceiling, and then they would, with the technology they use, the beam, I don't know, is it beam? I don't know the beam technology or how it works, but I would be floating and they would show me what my parents were doing just to make it more painful for me. Like, oh, mom shouldn't be doing that, dad shouldn't be doing that. So on my way up, being taken away from Earth, away from, no one in the world knows I'm being taken. And it's like that feeling of no one's going to know that I lived. No one's going to know that I ever existed. No one is going to know. And then as going up, I'm watching my parents have fun and party. And it broke me. And they did that on purpose, letting me see those things. They're so sick. So after, that, I would be thrown, and I think you and I had talked about this because you had a memory. Couldn't breathe, being beamed out, being shown all these things, and then instantly being put in a vat of light blue gel, kind of like if you're in a swimming pool, it looks that blue color. And I would be drowning because I hadn't breathed since I was in my bed, and they pulled me up onto wherever they took me. There was no air. And they would keep me conscious. So I knew I'm choking. I know I'm drowning. I know I'm going to die. And in this water tank that I'm in, I go through the physical process of dying because I've lost oxygen. And then at the very last minute, whatever fluid they put me in had oxygen. I took a big lungful and I realized I could still breathe, but they never did anything gently. They treated us like cattle. I remember the abductions when they started when I was 3 or 4. They would literally kick me with their foot off the ship, and I would fall out through the sky, through my roof, and I'd hit my floor. I'd hit the night table. They didn't care. Okay, deep breath.
You're doing fine.
Thank you.
So, ready for another question?
Yeah. Do you have any more questions about that, or do you want me to go into explain anything differently with that?
Well, the follow-up question to that was, what frightened you the most about the programs besides the obvious grays and military abducting you?
A lot of things. I have a list. So the very first thing, and I think I just kind of touched on it, was when you're being pulled from your house as a child, you're being pulled away from everything familiar. You don't know if you're going to return. You don't know if anyone's going to notice you're gone. You don't know if anyone is going to notice or care if you're dead. That's a very isolating feeling. When I was taken into the Montauk program, what scared me was, so they would send me to these futures that they had planned. So they had all these timelines set where they would do black magic. They would do all these things to set up what we would think were natural disasters, but these were all set up by the cabal. Most of the earthquakes in California, most of the big damage. For some reason, they kept me local because I lived in California. So I got to see everything that they were doing locally. I would also be sent way out to space and different planets, but there were so many futures that I had to report on where I would see my town and everyone I loved incinerated in like a nuclear blast. But they would show me, again, all I wanted was family. So they would show me my family's houses and my family's melting, their faces melting off in the nuclear explosion. And it would happen over and over and over and over and over in so many different manners. It was just disgusting. There was, when you were shot through this machine in Montauk, even as a child, you knew that it's different realms, different dimensions, but there's some places that are so far out there, you don't know how to get back. And you know that the people that sent you out there wouldn't know how to get you back. And one of the things I remember, they sent me out, some Draco saw me because they're very psychic. And these Draco put my consciousness in a little tiny box and they ejected it into space. And I tell you, I could see their ship. You could see Earth. I mean, very far away. You could see Mars. You know, being out there so much, I know what the solar system looks like. But I remember being caught in this box and they just threw me away. They just threw me like imagine like somebody on the space station there where they just cut their rope and watch them go. And that person is consciously aware that there's no one's going to save you. No one's going to care. It was so breaking and so breaking me over and over and over again, making me feel like, I mean, they already had me convinced nobody cared about me on the face of the earth, but I still had so much love for my family. When you're a kid, that's all you know. All right, I went off on a tangent. You were talking about what was scary. I think that was the scariest thing, just knowing that you could get lost in space and time and never find your way back. I can't even describe what that's like. So
No, I totally get it, and that's a real.
well, you know what it's like standing in space. It's very alone, and I know you've had that experience, but imagine being grabbed and just being pulled from so far away from everything that you've ever known, knowing that no one will ever know you existed. No one will ever know that what you did. No one will ever know what you sacrificed. You're just,
Yeah.
I can't.
It's like we're the ones that created that phrase, no one will hear you scream in space.
That gives me the chills. When I was working with the good guys in the Navy SSP, because I do work with the good guys, we were kind of like the police of the Milky Way. We're kind of like the police because we're the elders and we made the choices. And at one point, there were all these beings that had decided they were going to group up and do some kind of damage for everybody. And what we did was we got everyone who was arguing and we put them on the same ship together. We locked them in there. Now these are these are bad, like no soul. They've got reptilians, the ones that they're eating children. They're the really bad ones, but some of the Imperial AI Galactic Federation were working with them. But what we did to it wasn't a punishment. It was like to let them know that we were serious. We put them on this ship all together where they couldn't get out. They couldn't drive the ship. They had no control. We kind of set it adrift in space. And, we're keeping an eye on it. We've got an eye on it, but we're going to let them all work it out themselves while they're in the ship. So, but that was kind of the same thing that the reptilians did to me. I think I saw it similar in a movie with, in one of the Marvel movies with, where he's in space and his spaceship only has so much oxygen. So I knew like I was floating and I would know consciously, oh, I only have 5 hours of oxygen. So you're also anticipating when you run out of oxygen. It was torturous.
It sounds like it. And when did you first notice something was really off and your targeting had become physical bleed through? Were there multiple times?
When was the very first time? I think now they had me programmed. They had a certain sentence they programmed me with, and it was, the moment you see it, you'll forget it. So in my entire life, somebody could walk up to me, do something to me, and walk away, and I would gaslight myself. That didn't happen. But they were the ones that did that. So the first things, I mean, besides the stuff I remembered as a baby, the bleed throughs, like how I knew that there was somebody really after me and it wasn't just my imagination. My daughter was 1. She was teething. I was trying to put her down for a nap. And I heard the key turn in my front door. I lived in a little apartment in Monterey. All I remember was hearing that key and getting so sleepy that I don't remember anything else. Now, I gotta tell you, as a mother, I want to fucking know what they did to my baby. I want to know what they did to me. And this is the only part that I do not have peace with, is like, what were you doing to me and where were my babies? So this one time, I remember one of the guys, it was always 2 military guys. One of them stood over me, and I remember I purposely went and got in my bed like it was like he had ordered me to do it. And I remember seeing one over me and one go to my daughter's crib, and that was it. Do you know, as a mother, what that makes me feel like? anyways, there was that. There were these long distance phone calls to the, I can't pronounce it, Czechoslovakia. I can't pronounce it. Yeah. In the Czech Republic, there would be, and it was always 1 hour, 45 minutes or 2 hours exactly phone call. These long time ago, before cell phones, people, we had dial phones, and you got a phone bill at the end of the month, and it showed you everyone who called, every call that went out. So I found these phone calls. They were collect calls to an embassy in the Czech Republic. They would only happen when I was asleep during the day, or if I was asleep at night. And they were from my phone that was right next to my bed. Now, I even moved after that to a different apartment. Okay, different city. Nobody knew. And I started having the same long distance phone calls to Russia when I was napping or late at night. And again, this is just the phone company's mistake. It was like I was made to trick myself into believing that none of this was real. And I was so good at it. Like, I was so good at lying to myself. What was the question? I think I have more answers for it.
The question was about the bleed throughs and multiple times, and you've hinted at quite a few of them.
Yeah, so, and then of course the biggest bleed through was in 2022. I write about that in my book. When I woke up, I knew I'd been gone for months. I knew I hadn't seen sunlight for months. I was bloody. I had a fat lip. I had a cut here. I had a cut here. This was swollen. I had been RAPED. I even after waking up with my heart racing, bloody, sweating, crying, even after going into the bathroom, turning the light on and seeing myself beat up, I told myself in the shower, within that 3 minutes of my shower, that it didn't happen. I washed it off and I'm like, it didn't happen. But the sun started coming up, and I went to the, after I got dressed, I went to the kitchen. I had to get up really early, like 5 a.m. So the sun started coming up. I went back in my bedroom, and I was all good. I lied to myself. I was going to show up at work. Nothing happened. But when I went back in my bedroom, I noticed everything on the dresser had been knocked off. All the furniture had been pushed back. And it was that moment. So I was 50 years old then. So I'm talking about, I'm only giving you three examples. There are thousands, but I told myself every time, this didn't happen. This isn't happening to me. When I saw that my room had been knocked over, it was that moment that every one of the bleed throughs from the time my kids were young were real. And it just, I remember falling to my knees, and I don't remember anything after that because I went into shock. I went to work the next day. I went to work the day after that, but I was in shock. So that's when I really, really knew that this stuff that I was fascinated with. I'd read Tony Rodriguez's book. I'd read some of Niara Teresa Isley's book. It was that moment I realized, holy shit, this is real, and I'm in it. I'm nobody. I know nothing. Nobody cares about me. I'm saying that like I'm a nobody. I was shown by everybody that I was a nobody. So why is someone beating me up? And like, so can you imagine? You're already fully believing you're broken. You believe nothing in your life can work. They make it so that you've got no one to talk to, nobody to turn to. I have to stop. It hurts.
You're fine. Take your time.
Thanks.
Take a breath.
It's the way they operate is brilliant because they can make you blame yourself for everything that goes wrong. Like, I must be bad. That's why strangers are chasing me. Another event, I just turned 19 and I just moved to Monterey, and I was driving home and these random two military guys again, no tags on their white van, trying to run me off the road. Now I'm in PG where the road drops off into the ocean, so it wouldn't be a good idea to be pushed off the road. But these guys, I gave them a chase. I'm glad I had a full tank of gas because I didn't want them to know where I lived. I drove and drove and drove until I got to this one area where there was like a one-way road, and I turned my lights off. I parked in someone else's thing. They went by. I kept my lights off and I went backwards on this one-way road, and that's how I got away from them. But there were so many times people tried to kill me, and I'm like, no, I'm good. This is just normal. So yeah, big issue with feeling like you're a piece of shit all the time, which is what they want, because the more you feel crazy, the more you're not going to reach out to anyone for help. And the morning that I woke up bleeding and beat up, and I did go to the police and I did go to the hospital, I get a random phone call it showed Monterey Police Station. And this guy gets on and he says, "You don't want to pursue this, Erica." How can the police are like the last people I could go to, and I get a call, "You don't want to pursue this, Erica." He knew my name. He says, "I know you don't have any support." They knew what they were doing. And I'm sure they were just trying to get me to kill myself because I don't know. Then again, I think they probably were not trying to get me to kill myself because they needed me for the information I had. So it was just, I have 3 children. I have 3 grandchildren, and this happens. And I'm going to say this again. Imagine as a mother and as a grandmother, what goes through my head all the time. I understand that my children have their own soul path, but if I ever find the people that messed with my kids, I'm going to let you have them. I'm going to let you take care of them. Because then I know that they'll never be found again.
So true. So we've kind of hinted at how they sneak around, and can you describe the feeling or the way in which they would sneak up on you at night?
It was always in a different way. So, because once I started figuring out, oh, that's the Greys, they would choose a different method in which to come. By 1986, 1987, the Greys had me convinced that they were my family because they, through all my experience, had shown me that my parents, they manipulated this, that nobody cared for me. So they were like, well, we love you. They don't know what love is. But so as a child, I was very, very, very loyal to them. So, it was always something different. It was always something that they would do. And they always made it extra scary. Like if they were walking towards me, they'd run like nails along the wall to get, just really disgusting. I don't think I can think of any right now. I'm trying to like calm down from the last question.
Yeah. I hate the sound of nails on chalkboards and then so the second you were describing it, I was like, my back went to shivers. So I was like, yeah, no more.
Yeah.
So do you think they kept randomizing it to keep throwing you off, or do you think they were just trying to test you to see how much you remembered?
The interesting thing is, and what I've learned recently that I haven't shared yet, is that I realized I was this is going to sound cold. I'm a prototype. The memory wiping didn't work on me. I thought that maybe they did it so much that it eventually just wore off. But I realized now, I just learned recently that it never worked on people like me. I was created so that mind control can't work on me. My body will naturally reject anything that is trying to manipulate or block. I remember thousands of times where they would be abducting like everyone in the neighborhood and we'd all be in line. Everybody would have to undress, wait in line. I was always awake. And I remember every single time I got to pretend like I'm not. I got really good at pretending to be like the other people in line. Like my parents would be there, my sister would be there. They'd be in that just dead eyes. I can't even describe it. But I would try so hard just to look like I was under as well. But they would always get me. And when they would find out I wasn't under, I would be knocked in the head so hard that I would go under. So it wasn't like they would just use gentle technology on me. Even bringing, you've heard of these mass abductions like they do. And there's these, sorry guys, these huge conferences. It's their favorite, especially the military, especially for like Project Oblivion. Let's abduct everyone. Let's mind control them and make sure they never communicate. Let's make sure that this guy fights with this guy, that fights with this guy, that fights with this guy. And they do that, yet we are all at a conference because we're trying to unite and unify. And they use that. And I've said this over and over, and I wish people would listen. Every single time I see some kind of event happened, I'm on social media and there's always drama afterwards. So-and-so did this and you guys are being used as puppets. by the military agencies. So let go of the arguing. You're being used. That went off on a tangent. What was your question again? I'm sorry.
Well, we kind of answered that one, and I kind of want to switch it up just for a second to take a break from all the heavy,
Thank you.
emotional. And so, was there any programs that you enjoyed as much as that is possible in the slave status of the programs?
Yeah. So, yes. And I know that's sick, but when you're a child and you have nothing, and you have no love, and you have no affection, and you have no attention, and that's all you need, is all you want as a child is to fit in. So I was used. I'm trying to think of the year it would have been. I was older. I wasn't like 5 or 6 years old. Probably 8 or 9. I was used as a psychic for a drug cartel, drug running people. And I have to say, and this is going to sound sick, but I felt like they treated me better than anyone has ever treated me in my life, because, and I think this has to do with, because it's South America and there's more of a reverence to oracles and people that can read. So they, even though they drugged me and had me half dead and did all that, I still felt like I had family. And it's a sick, but they treated me better than anyone else had. You know who else treated me really well? When I was sold to the Draco, of all people, in the Kuiper Belt, to be a pilot and to, protect what they were doing. And they would be, if you did your job really well, they were pretty decent. But if you messed up or were late, or they would put you in a hellscape. But I was, I always did my best. I never made mistakes. So I think they treated me. But yeah, it was the cartels that I felt like I felt like they respected me, or I don't know. I can't, more than anyone else ever did.
So, leaving Earth aside for a moment, because you talk about operating in space as well and having experiences in space. So, in your book, you describe standing on Mars and looking up at the Earth. What was going through your mind seeing the Earth from Mars? And just take a moment.
I know, I'm trying to calm my heart down. This was the hardest one for me to make peace with. I had a clone of mine. This was so backwards. They had left a clone of mine to take care of my kids, because I had three young kids, when they used me on Mars. Because of how my mind works, and because I can't get wiped like that, like easy, I remember
It looks like she froze. So hopefully.
Sorry. I got really emotional and it shut my thing down. Wow. So we were in a, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Can you see me?
Your image is frozen, but I can hear you.
Okay. I'll try to talk and stay still. So I had the full awareness. I was in a colony on Mars, the Galactic Federation, and I had freed this colony from Nachtwaffen control. And so we gave them some supplies. Something happened and I disappeared again. Can you hear me?
The last thing we heard was you gave them supplies and then you dropped.
It's like every time I get really emotional, it goes out. We were in a what's it called? Not a commune, a compound. It was a colony that was just starting, but something happened with the Dark Fleet. There was a big fight with Dark Fleet, the Galactic Federation, and also the native reptilians and the native mantids on Mars. It was a fight. We won. I'm sorry, the native Mars won. Nachtwaffen was kicked out and I have I made friends there, family. We had some things from Earth there because it's not like completely different. I mean, some of the decor is like the 70s and 80s in some of the buildings that were built out by Nachtwaffen. But I was in part where we had built out some buildings above the natural labyrinths that the mantids had created. So we were growing food underground using hydroponics. The labyrinths had their own natural energy that ran through it. So you could make food. It was fascinating, completely different of how it was. I disappeared again. I swear, it's every time my heart starts beating.
You're talking about
this
making
is a hard
food.
one.
It is, and just we'll take our time with it.
Okay, so
you were making food.
Yeah, well, I'm just describing. We learned how to make our own food. We were a colony that were freed, and we were trying to survive. And I got to borrow. It's like a Walkman. It's like an MP3 player, but completely different. But it's got the foamy. I got to borrow one of those, and it had Earth songs on it. And I climbed up to the top. Me hearing again.
Yeah, you climbed to the top and then we lost you.
Okay, so I climbed to the top and I put my earphones on and I could see Earth. And Earth is like when you're sitting on Earth and looking at Mars, you see the tiniest little speck of yellow. Well, Earth
Right.
is just like a tiny little, very tiny. But I remember I was playing the song Rocket Man by James Maynard Keenan, Tool. And I was watching Earth, and I hope the screen doesn't go out, but the amount of motions, emotions, knowing that I had 3 small children on that planet that I couldn't. I just knew my kids were there, and I can't tell you, you're on a whole different planet from your babies, and you know it. So that was interesting. It was about 2023, and I was driving in Monterey, and that song came on the radio. And that's when I got the memory. And that was hard. But I mean, you just, it's a mother thing. I mean, it's hard enough to know that your babies are. You're so helpless.
You are, and I have a curious question relating to Mars. If you have a moment and want to.
Well, please ask me anything else. I just got to get out of that one.
So you and I connected, and we both were on Mars. Is that where you found me, and we started to connect, or did that
No,
come
yeah,
later?
I think that came later because, or it could have been. See, there's no time out there, Michael.
Right.
Everything happens all at once. So I could have been sitting on my rooftop. We were walking out in the desert going to get your lightsaber under where you had buried it. There's no time, so I really can't tell when, but if you would ask me right now, I would say that our connection feels much older than when I was on Mars. I feel like that might have happened at the end of the Orion Wars or the Electrical Wars.
Okay, and since we're talking about seeing Earth in space, what what was it like to see the Earth in space, and what did it look like to you? How would you describe it?
What do you mean? Like, what does the Earth look like? Like if I'm standing with giraffe?
So, when you're in space on a ship or standing
Okay,
on a
so
planet and you look at the Earth, what do you see? How does it appear to you?
all of the planets in the galaxy, spheres. There's. I hope somebody can play this soon, but there's this music you hear out there. You can actually bring it on the speakers on your craft, but there's a sound that the spheres make.
Right,
And I
to me
say
it's because of
spheres.
spheres.
They're spheres. They're not perfectly round spheres. Some of them look like it. Like Earth is a little bit. Here, I'll draw it. Earth
Well,
is
your
like.
image is frozen, so
Oh, great.
if you want, I can try to reset you to see if we can get your image back.
Am
Or
I
do
back
you
now?
want your image has been frozen this whole time.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. Do you want to pause and put me back on?
We'll try that real quick. It just it'll be a brief second, everyone.
Okay.
Okay, that did not go as planned.
What
She
happened
should
now?
be. You have completely disappeared. I can hear you, but you
I can
have
see
no
me.
image.
Yeah,
It's
that
the strangest thing right now is there should be an image there.
this
It's
happened on
saying there's an
Michael
image.
Sala. This happened on Michael Sala. I don't even think he's going to be able to.
Yeah. Mystifying Mark, we're trying to get to where we can see her again. And so we're hoping that we can. Let's see. Why is it's showing that her camera is working and she's just frozen. So I wonder if she needs to leave the studio and re-enter because her image should be on the screen right now and she is frozen. So she's trying now to leave studio and come back in. So I beg your patience. It is hard to deal with technical issues during live shows. I wish I could pause so you guys don't have this missing time, and fingers crossed that she can get back in quickly. And thank you all for watching this. And I do know it's Thanksgiving Eve and everyone has a lot of preparations for Thanksgiving tomorrow if you're in a country that celebrates that. So I do appreciate you tuning in and watching this. And hopefully we can get through the rest of these questions and more of her story and get the visuals if she can do them. But so far, it's kind of looking a little tricky. And so let me see if I can get a hold of her. I do appreciate everyone's patience with this. This is a hard episode on both of us. And so I appreciate your understanding and fingers crossed that everything. Mystifying Mark, she was describing it as the planets were spheres, but that the Earth was a little bit different of a sphere shape. So hopefully, when she gets back in, we can finish discussing the size and what the planet looked like. From my perspective, when I was in space, it is a giant ball. It is spherical. It seems to me to be a little bit larger than what we're told in the books, and there's a bit more cloudiness, and the land isn't always so crystal clear as they show in the photos from NASA. So I'm not so sure about that. And the planets look a little bit different than what we see in textbooks, but it's still enough that we can identify them and know we're there. And I'm going to wait just a couple more minutes and see. I'm going to mute myself because she's calling me on the phone. So I'll be right back. Okay, so right now we're having the fun of dealing with. She has no internet, even though other people in the house have internet. The computer is not accepting the Wi-Fi. It's like it will, and then it shuts it off the second she tries to get on the show. So we are trying right now to troubleshoot that. So I just wanted to give you all that update. So if I come back and I'll either come back and announce she's coming back, we got it fixed, or we may have to do a part 2 to this episode. So just give us a moment and we're doing our best. And we appreciate everyone's patience. And Alice Star 1, I agree. They are messing with her, and it is a bummer. So just
Is that you?
she's back.
So, okay.
So
you
we
can
were
hear me?
yes, we can hear and see you now. So
So
we were
yeah, I'm
talking
using the
about
same
Earth.
internet that everyone else is using in my house. Everyone else in my house, it's working, but not me.
So
Okay.
we were talking about the Earth and what it looks like in space.
All right, I'm going to try to draw a picture, and I'm not a good drawer.
Watch, it'll be a masterpiece.
No, that's not really. Let's see.
So thank you everyone for your patience, and I apologize for the dead air momentary, but
Yeah, not our fault. I'm always targeted. So it's not really that you can't see that. No, you can't see there.
no, oh wait,
So
tilt it forward a little. There we go. Now we can see
okay,
it.
so it's not round, perfectly round. So the tops are kind of like, because there is a way to get in Antarctica, and but it's not perfectly round. It's like lumpy. None of the planets are perfect. But yeah, it's kind of like squished like that a little bit.
Yeah, that's about how I was describing it, to where
Okay.
they're spheres, but it's not like perfect sphere, and
Yeah, but there are
it's more
spheres.
cloudy, and the land isn't as clear to me as they show in the pictures. But
No, it's very cloudy. You can't like, you know how they show you can see America, South America. You can only see clouds, and you have no idea what part of Earth you're looking at unless you're looking down directly at the North Pole, which is fascinating because
the toroidal field goes in.
yeah, but there's usually cloud cover. But I mean, I get to see it anyway.
And we were also discussing how none of the planets look like their photos in the books, but they're close
Oh
enough
no,
that you can figure
not
out
at
what
all.
is what.
And what I'm hoping, because I don't even know how NASA is going to try to hide Three Eye Atlas on December 19th when it goes over, because how can you hide something that big? I'm sure they'll try, but
But
I'm really looking forward to us getting our true history about what the planets really look like and how things really are, because nobody knows the truth at this point.
I agree. And I have a question for you that this is one that I just thought of actually literally before we came on. So I think you're going to really like this question. What was it like meeting your dragon for the first time?
I was taken up. Okay, so I'll explain that. So I'm married to Jor-El, who is the admiral for the Galactic Federation of Worlds. I am also an admiral. He is also my Syrian counterpart, my Andromedan counterpart. We have more, it's the same soul, but different bodies. And I was saying that for a reason. What was your question?
Meeting your dragon for the first time,
Okay.
what it was
So
like.
recently I've been talking with many admirals. I couldn't tell you what ship we're on, but these are Lyran. They're white. They're wearing full armor. They're lion face. And I've been. They invited Jarrell and I about 2 months ago, and I can't wait for the Earth to see inside some of these ships. It is. You can't even. They have trees. They've got their own weather. They've got like rainforest in a ship, so they've got like lakes, pools. Anyways. So he's. I was really nervous. We took a scout craft. Jarrell picks me up right above my house. So we take a craft to this big craft and this white lion. Now, when I turn to look at Jarrell, he's in his, it's not really his name. His name is Kieran, in his lion form. So they're nudging me to come idea what I'm going to look at. It looks like, I would say, what ancient Egypt looked like, but everything is glowing and fresh and clean. And I walk up these stairs and everyone's excited and I have no idea what I'm about to see. And I come over the top step, and just like this is the most, I can't even describe it, is a white dragon who is part of me, who's like, he looks like one of those fantasy dragons because his skin is like that really white or sparkly. I can't show you, like sparkly, and then it's like iridescent, like you can see rainbow colors on it. And he didn't want to scare me, so he was down like this, and I walked up and I'm standing up and my eyes are exactly where his eyes are, but he's got his chin on the ground. And I got reintroduced to a dragon, and I discovered that we're all old, very old souls, but, before Atlantis, we had Lemuria. Before Lemuria, we had Sharamu, and I was a dragon priestess. And these memories are surfacing in a lot of us now. We've been here since the beginning of time, incarnating, but now all of our incarnations that one soul took, all those memories are coming back. We've got, some of us are Essene, some of us are High Priestess, some of us still remember our connection to Earth and Earth magic, and it's rising again. Sophia's being rebirthed, and it's exciting because it's waking up something in us, just like this messenger coming through the galaxy 3i Atlas. Everything is getting a wake up. Like, really, wake up to who you are. This is all a lie. You all been told lies. It's time to wake up. Go right here. Look right here. Look right here. The truth comes from right here.
So we're going to go to another tough question for you.
Okay, back and forth.
No, I think you'll like this one, though.
Okay.
Now that you are healing and you know why these things happened, what's the most difficult for you? Is it the memories or knowing the world isn't what you thought it was?
This is really difficult. It's gonna be really hard to talk about, even to you, Michael, because we talk every day. You're one of my best friends.
Right.
I talked about how in the programs they have me so isolated that you're just so isolated. It's not good. So I'm experiencing that in a different sense now. And it's very lonely. For example, let me just talk about a regular night for me, okay? So I have my clients. I finally finish my clients. I go have dinner and I get my hot chocolate. I get my blankie. I get my candles and some music, and I go outside and I always watch the stars.
And I annoy you with texts.
My life this is really hard to answer, but I really need to talk about it because I'm struggling. I've been to Inner Earth. I've met the Ant King. I know how they live. I know how it feels to be down there. I know what it's like to be one with my Syrian family and the connection we have and the unity we have. So my regular night, okay, I'll go outside, I'll watch the stars, I'll talk to Jorel or Kieran or whichever aspect is available. And anytime I ask, no matter what, if I need them to come, they'll come. Okay, if I need an answer to a question, and this is, when you're a child, this is all you want. You want to be special. You want to have magical abilities. You want to be able to do things that other people can't do, right? But okay, so I get to go on these ships. I get to go see places that are beyond mind-blowing. I get to experience states of being that are so blissful. I get to sit on the edge of the space view on the station above Earth, and I get to have quiet, and I get to just watch the planet. These are amazing, amazing things. Like being able to fly near Jupiter and feel that energy. Every morning I wake up and I've been places that, and this is the hard part, there's no one I can talk to about it. As much, no, I know, but as much as you and I are best friends, I can't say, unless you've gone through the exact same experiences, it's isolating. And I don't know how to say that in another way that's not rude. It's like, I know you've been in space. I know what you can do. But I would love to be able to wake up and call someone and say, I was just in this arc, and this is the technology, and this is what we're going to do with it, because I'm excited, and the person I am, I get excited about what is helping humanity grow, and I get excited about where we're going because so many good things are happening. I have access to looking glass technology, but I can't talk about it. I hint. I act silly. Sometimes in a silly way, I'll say things, but it's like having magic, having, like, you can fly, you can do all these amazing things, but you can't talk about it. You can't tell a soul.
Right.
But that's, and I said this, I think, on one of your other podcasts, that's the responsibility. In order to be able to have these experiences, you have to be in a certain state. You have to have done enough shadow work. You have to have made peace with a lot of things. Then you have to get used to being in space. You have to get used to, like, when you're being beamed up, you're not breathing and your heart isn't beating, and it's unnerving. I wish there was somebody I can call, and especially in the morning when I'm coming back from, like, being in a much higher dimension, it's so painful coming back. I think I heard, was it JP that said this? Like, it's just, you wish you could talk about some of the things you see because they would inspire people, but you can't yet.
Right.
And it's hard. Like, and like I said, it's hard even telling you that because I talk to you every day, and I know I tell you stuff. Like, we'll be talking and I'm like, oh, Jarrell just went by, but it's just words to you. I mean, you can imagine it as much as you can, but you're not going to know the feeling and the healing and the fullness and the magic of it. I want to be able to share it. And I know soon I will be, but I'm impatient because we've all been here for too goddamn long.
Yes, we have. So that actually,
gosh, I didn't say God, so
yeah, that perfectly leads into my next question for you. And this is one of my questions, and I think you're going to find this one kind of funny for yourself. So the question is, what are some positive attributes that you have learned and use from the programs? And how has finding me and connecting with me impacted you?
what was the first question? I'm just do one
Positive
at a time.
attributes that you've learned and used from the programs.
Oh my gosh, I am amazing shot. I am amazing target. Oh gosh, there's so many, and I can't think of one right now. Being able to read a room, being able to, if I want to know something, I just send my consciousness there and know it. Um, I'm trying to think of fun ones. Oh, like you mentioned, I remember what it was like to fly really fast, especially when you're like really low to the ground, and like
Oh, yeah.
you're coming up to a mountain and you just shoot straight up.
And
There's
drag your
there's a
hand
lot.
through the water.
Yeah, there's a lot. I can't think of all of them right now. That was a surprise question. I needed to be prepared for that one.
And how has finding me and connecting with me impacted and changed, if at all, how you view everything now with
You
the programs?
really you inspired me to want to, well, first you were the one that gave me this is gonna sound wrong. I always say everything wrong. I was gonna say you're the one that gave me the balls to do my YouTube channel, but that's not right. I do not have balls, sorry. But you gave me
Oh, you
courage.
do have your own way.
You gave me the courage to want to, and the inspiration to want to talk about this like it's normal. Like, I want to talk about this because this is what's real in my life. I live a double life. The people I live with have no idea. Like, they understand that they can't bother me before noon. I tell them that it's because of my this or that, but it's because I'm being returned to my body, and if I don't get returned right, sometimes I'll be half in my body, and it's just it's like living a double life.
Yeah,
And
and I can
but
attest, if you're in the astral and somebody shakes you out of it, it does hurt when
oh, it
you get slammed
hurts.
in your body.
It's like being shot with buckshot
Yeah.
all over. Yeah. And like even this morning, I hate waking up in the morning. I just want to cry. It hurts so bad. I just sit there and I bite, I hold it, and I just try to breathe through the pain. Sometimes it takes up to 2 hours. So I don't know how these other people are saying, my space travels are making me feel beautiful, because they're not. It's not good for the body.
You should hang out with me more in space then. No, kidding.
No, no, you scare me. But you also helped me understand that when people on earth focus on something with psi abilities, it's real that we can get stuff done. I remember almost a year ago where I had the remote viewers were cloaking and coming into my room and messing with me, and we corded them, followed them back to their building, and burned it to the ground. And remember that day I drove by that building
Oh,
weeks
yeah.
later, and I'm like, oh my God, it was burned to the ground. And I took that quick picture for you. So exciting, besides the fact that you helped me with absolutely everything and you are a translator for my awkwardness. Um, it's been fun to be able to do these things with you and actually get results. It's real.
Yeah, it is. Uh, and for me, the benefit is both of us understand what we're talking about, so we don't sound loony and crazy and like. And when we don't know how to put it in words, we know how to put it in words. It's like,
After a lot of laughter.
oh yeah. And I still remember like so many times you'll draw, and it's how my mind works. It's Erica has a field day with my mind because she'll drop a sentence, and the sentence will be a bunch of random words, and then I'll fill in the entire story. And she's like, "How did you know that?"
That's what I say. What did I say earlier today? I told somebody that I told Renata because I'm going to be doing a series of stories and teaching people how to. Anyways, I'm creating this huge thing, and I told Renata Duma, because she's going to be working with me to create these classes. She's going to be helping me get this information out and teach people about all kinds of targeting, about all kinds of, how to stop this, how to avoid that, my labs, everything. So we're going to cover things that have never been covered before. But I told her we had a misunderstanding because I'm very confusing. I always make a joke that it's because I'm autistic or neurodivergent, but I said, Michael is my autism translator. So I said, I called him and I told him what you said and he translated it for me. Now I understand what you mean. So my bad. But really, back to that isolation that the military, they didn't want me to be alive to speak. They didn't want me to speak. So I'm doing it, but I'm doing it awkwardly.
And you're not doing it awkwardly. You're doing it the Erica way.
Awkwardly.
So, how people. So, I want to make something a little transparent because we've been throwing around some terms that in some moments where it may not make sense of, like when Erica said I surprised her with this question. Some of the questions she came up with, some of them I came up with. So this was all designed to trigger memory and share to a certain path in what's going on right now. So that's why when she says, "Oh, I'm surprised by this question," that's because it came from me, and she didn't want my questions in advance. So, and I think that's fair because don't want it scripted, and we like the surprise interaction, and we get each other, so it's I know how to ask things in a certain way that will guide to the right where we're
Yeah.
going and make levity where when it's getting too heavy. So that's part of our Wonder
I
Twins.
know. I got so close. I'm like, I'm not gonna cry because I just don't want to cry anymore.
Yeah. So the last question that she came up with, we designed to be asked at the end because it was, in our opinion, one that was going to bring some lighterness
Yeah.
to this and leave everybody in a more positive state than feeling like the weight of her experience. And so the question is, what kind of things do you get to experience having an admiral as a husband upstairs? Do you have any perks? Does he help you with things here on Earth?
Now I'm gonna be all giggly and shy. Okay. Um. I'll start with, I'll just tell the story about, did I tell this? No, I didn't. I've known about Jor-El. When did I first really, really meet him? Like when I knew it was him was probably 2021. He has got so much integrity. He is so gentle and soft, yet he can rule an army, yet he can, even having to make sure everything's okay with the galaxy, he still makes time to take care of me. And for me, that's mind-blowing, because I never had this level of, it's beyond love. It's not just love. I don't know how to describe it, but when I went septic and they found those tumors and the screw, by the way, I had an MRI 2 days ago and they found another piece of metal. I shouldn't have said that live. Sorry, I just had to tell you. So yeah, that's why I was having more pain. Anyways, what was I saying? So I'm going to tell a story, and it's so hard to believe, but I have witnesses that saw it. So I was, it was October 2024. I was getting ready. No, it was November 2nd. I was getting ready to go into surgery to get these tumors out. And I live in Fresno right now. I probably shouldn't be telling everyone that. It's really ugly here. There's always chemtrails. There's always dirt in the sky. It's the worst pollution. It's kind of like LA, but more ghetto. The day of my surgery, the weather was different. The entire weather. I mean, we had 6 straight months of just horrible, horrible. But the day of my surgery, blue skies, white, big, puffy clouds. It was, I'm going like, did we like jump to a new earth? They're prepping me so I'm on the top floor of community hospital, and they're putting my IV on, they're putting my hair up so that, getting me prepped. I'm begging for the medication because I'm so scared. And I stretch and I look out, and the window's right there. And I look out, and there's this big white fluffy cloud, but it's like solid, like it's not moving, and it's windy. All the other clouds are going by. This one isn't moving. And I'm watching, and I have a nurse right here. My auntie's right here. The anesthesiologist is right here. He hasn't put the drugs in yet, so I didn't have drugs yet. I'm watching this cloud. A piece of the cloud breaks off. Like, I wish I could just describe it. So, okay, here's the big cloud. A little piece of this cloud breaks off. Okay, the wind is blowing really strong that way, in that direction. Okay, this thing, my window is like, imagine the computer's my hospital window. This thing goes straight to the window, and it's a ship. It's a little one-man ship. And it was so elegant. It was like shiny, like the dragon here. It was like shiny gold and silver. Again, I'm programmed to, this isn't happening still. So I said, Auntie, look out the window, and I'm just pointing. And so she peeks out and she goes, she was joking because she doesn't believe in any of this. She goes, oh, look it. She goes, a spaceship's going to watch over you. She's kidding, but she sees it. It got closer and closer to my window. And then when the anesthesiologist and nurse heard us and they peeked out the window, it went up. So they looked out. You can only see the cloud. So they get back doing my thing, comes back down. That's when I'm like, I said, Jarrell. And then I got a flash. That moment, I couldn't stop smiling. Like I'm septic and I'm going into a surgery I probably won't make it out of. And I'm giddy, just giddy. Just the idea that somebody would change the weather patterns, the atmospheric whatever, just to be there to give me comfort for my surgery. They also knew I wasn't going to make it. So they put this ship right above, we're on the top floor. It's right above, I could sense it, but I couldn't see it. The surgery room. And I remember this, even though they put me under with the Versed. They put me under. The moment they took the tumors and the metal out, I was in his arms. And I think this is I can't say his name right, Karen, who is also Jor-El, but it's his lion version. It's a higher dimensional version. He's carrying me and he's running down this hall. And I'm just happy. I've got drugs in my system. I don't know what's going on. I'm like, oh, I died. So my head's hanging because, he's holding me. And I'm looking and I'm watching these crystal clusters go by in this hall. So obviously I'm on the ship because these ships are like mines. They're alive. They've got crystal clusters. They're like a big brain. Anyways, I hear a woman yelling, get her in here quick, get her in here quick. And he's this booming voice, I'm going as fast as I can. And she's like, you're not fast enough. And they're arguing about me. I look up and when I realize it's him, I'm just so relieved. And he sets me in this med bed. Okay, I was in a med bed. It had I'm trying to look for like things that could. It had a gel that was this color, this blue. You know those foot gel insert things that you put in your shoe? It looked like that, but it was a table, and you lay in it and you kind of sink in the gel, and it recalibrates your cells. So what it did was it took a lot of the infection out because it was so bad. So as soon as the surgeons took it out, I was sent up to a med bed. They did what they could to stabilize me and returned me. And then I was in the recovery room, fully aware that I had just been upstairs. Now I get on the, I'm feeling amazing. Okay, you don't feel energetic, happy, excited when you get out of a major surgery, but I was on cloud 9. And it was amazing. The people that knew I was having surgery, they were calling and checking in. 3 of them said that they psychically saw everyone around me. They saw me go up. They saw me get help. So I had the surgeon, the anesthesiologist, my aunt see the ship. And then one last thing happened, and this just blew me away. Because they know Jarrell knows me and Kieran knows me. They're the same person. They know that I will gaslight myself and say it didn't happen. So, you know what they did for me? before they returned me to my hospital bed, they bathed me in the most scrumptious perfume I've ever smelled. So the surgeons, they're done. The nurse walks out of the room, walks back in the room. I'm returned. Everyone's going. Even me. He goes, "Did you just spray perfume?" I said, "No, I thought that was you." He goes, "I would never wear something that scrumptious." And it was a male nurse. He's not gay, but he said that. He goes, "I would never." It was like vanilla jasmine
With a hint
on
of lavender.
steroids. What?
With a hint of lavender.
Yes. You know that. Never mind. I don't want to know.
You don't want to know.
I didn't want to wash that smell off. The nurse kept coming in, and he was like, "Whatever happened to you?" I mean, the smell made all of us kind of just like, it was like a drug. It smelled so good. Even the lady that was recovering with me could smell it. Oh, it was just amazing. So that was I want to make sure you don't gaslight yourself into knowing that I wasn't there for you. But I mean, that's a big deal. That's a big deal. Because they're not even allowed to come into there's certain I don't know the words. I'm not a professional. There's a fly zones that they're not allowed to come into, right? Yet,
technically, yes.
Yeah, technically, yet his ship is right physically out my window and above the hospital. That in itself changed the way I viewed myself, because that kind of commitment, that kind of care, that kind of, I don't even have the words. I've never been treated that well ever. It meant so much.
And not to make it weird or anything, but I'm curious, because you talk about how I help a lot and everything. Does it, in a way, that feeling alone and isolated, I know you said it's still there somewhat. Is it lessened by knowing, without even asking for me, that I'm there and helping? And
Absolutely. Which is why you get random phone calls and I don't let you off the phone for a very long time.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that if anyone's listening and they've been through these things, they'll understand what I'm saying. It's like, we're human. We want somebody to say, "Hey, wasn't that awesome? How do that feeling? Can you believe that feeling?" Like a lot of these places that you move through in space do something to your emotions, and it changes you, and you keep it with you. And it makes you a different type of human than the other humans. And I'm not saying like I'm special, I'm this, I'm that. I'm saying you don't do drama anymore. You don't play in the petty games. When you can really step back and look at Earth and think, anything that is going on with your life there is more important than what's happening to all of humanity. Like, it really puts things in perspective for me.
Yeah.
My situation on Earth, whatever is uncomfortable for me, that's nothing compared to what needs done and what's getting done as far as saving humanity. I mean, look, right now, we're done. We made it. I know nobody sees that yet. It takes a long time for things that happen in the higher dimensions to trickle and become solidified in the third. And I can say, gosh, I wish you could ask questions about this. A lot of the things that a lot of the envoys were worried about, a lot of the things the star seeds needed, a lot of the things that humanity needed are being done. And now it's just a matter of time of letting it trickle down into the 3D. But I mean, we've already flipped it. We've already flipped this planet into, and we did it. The Galactic Federation didn't do it. A savior didn't do it. Ea didn't do it. We did it. The starseeds, the envoys, that the ones that did their shadow work when no one else was doing it. You know, I didn't realize until now that all this inner work that I was doing, I'm doing it for all those millions of people that don't know how. Holy shit. So I'm not going to complain about little uncomfortable things in my life. It's not, you know, does that make sense? I mean,
it does. And if you want to, I don't know, my mind is going a mile a minute. And
yeah,
you're talking about how the emotions, are changed. If you want to share how you see me, if that would help drive home that point, you're welcome to. And the nickname that you give me,
which one?
the Jedi.
Oh yeah. Okay, I'll talk about you, Michael. You're gonna have to plug your ears. I'm gonna talk about Michael on Michael's show. So y'all probably think Michael's this quiet, sweet podcast host who's very, very polite and kind, and he does all this other stuff, and he's just a good guy, never hurt a fly, never hurt anybody's feelings. But man, if you're in danger, that guy disappears. And he turns into this elder Jedi who knows absolutely everything about the universe. Michael blows my mind. Like, I wish people could see the side of you, that side of you that there were a lot of times I was really, really, really targeted. And I'm talking about people don't really understand. We're going to have to do a show where we describe what targeting really means. I'm talking about you're getting RAPED, you're getting lifted off your bed, thrown against a wall, you're waking up with drugged bruises, that kind of targeting. And when I started calling Michael for help because I was so beyond exhausted and beat down, and he helped. Like, I would see things that were coming at me either blow up, evaporate, or be shot out. Yeah. Too bad you don't have like there's not a training. Maybe you could start a training for the, training for Earth Jedis. What do they call them? Younglings? You could be their trainer. Really?
Yeah. Younglings. Well, younglings are the elementary school, just starting. Padawans are the apprentice type. The terms in Star Trek or Star Wars. Sorry, wow. I slapped to the face of that comment. But Star Wars are actually correct. that the terminology they use.
Mm-hmm. Well, a lot of it's correct because it's the story of what happened to our solar system.
But yeah, and so we're actually approaching the 2-hour mark.
No. Okay.
Yeah, actually.
Well,
We went a little bit longer because of having the
oh yeah,
technical
that's true.
issue.
I
And
have a few announcements. Then can I make my announcements?
absolutely, I was just gonna turn it
Oh
over
no,
to you.
I froze and I look scared.
And now your picture just disappeared. Now you're
It
just an
says
avatar.
your browser has lost connection to your camera.
Well, we can still hear you, so let's
What
you
was
can
I gonna
share
say?
still at least.
Hey, everybody, if you need a med bed, just ask out loud before you go to sleep. Everybody, every one of you has a galactic team. If you need healing, you got to ask for it out loud. Say, hey, you know, my knee's swollen. If you could do something about it, I want to wake up without this pain. So you can. All right, I have no video, but what was the last thing I was going to say? Okay, so
You were gonna share what you have coming
yeah.
up.
I'm going to do an advertisement on this. My YouTube channel is Erica Amoreena Blue Star Kachina. I have some announcements that are going to be coming up on that. A lot coming up in January. I'm going to be offering classes, some lectures, really in-depth information about what's really going on in the world. Because about 99% of us now are being taken into the programs, and you know, I'm not going to be popular for sharing this, but I want everyone to know so that we can get out of it together. My website right now is ericaamoreena.com. I have my first book out. It's called Girls Stolen, a collection of memories. I am working on finishing my second book. That should be coming out at the end of this year. Yeah, a lot of stuff in 2026 to look forward to. So just pay attention to my YouTube channel if my computer doesn't completely blow up and kick me out.
Cross your fingers. But
And there I am.
and she's back. Well, while you were off screen, I was sharing your YouTube channel, and here is the Amazon code to her book. So feel free to get her book. It is amazing. And I can't wait for book 2 to come out.
Thanks.
And you can also find Erica helped me with my second book, so she is credited with that book as well.
Oh yeah, you've got some books out too, man. Except you have help. I don't.
Oh, you just gotta
Oh,
ask.
and I promise that my second book will be edited and it will make sense, and I'm adding pictures. So I really want to get details of what I went through. The world needs to know the truth about what was done to us. Now that it's over, it's safe to talk about. And I want to let all the envoys know the targeting is mostly done. If you're still going through it, it could be a program that you were given. My website is ericaamoreena.com. I am not taking new clients until January, but if you want to sign up for the waiting list in January, leave me an email from my website, on my website. And thank you, Michael.
Yes. Did I spell it right?
I can't see it. It's not coming up on my screen.
EricaAmoreena.com.
Yes.
Woohoo! Yeah. Oh, well, Alistar1 says thank you.
Thank you. And thank you for having me on. And sorry about the interference that they'll just never going to leave me alone.
Oh, we're used to it on this show. So
Yeah.
thank you. Thank you to everybody. And I want to wish everybody that celebrates it and those who don't celebrate it anyway. Tomorrow is the great day of thanks. I kind of think every day should be that, but
it is. Every day should be that. But I think tomorrow isn't like a holiday. I think it's a fun time to get together with loved ones, eat a lot of food because food is amazing, and be thankful for things and really, really think about the things in your life that you want. We have, yeah.
I was saying, as Erica knows, there is one word that is, I can't go without saying it. I say it to her all the time, and I think I'm driving her nuts with it. But it's a day to renew our hope and remember that the hope is what's putting us through, and so
it is, and that's what's required. I don't know if it's called hope or faith, or I was told a long time ago, verbatim by Jarrell, if your hope survives, your destiny will arrive. It was part of an Olivia Newton-John song, but he meant it. He said, if you can stay in your mind in that state, you're set. You're set. If you stay hopeful and you stay in your heart, nothing can go wrong. And he was right.
I'm just laughing too at the kind of humorous side of here I am, hope, right to you, and now your destiny's coming up, and so is mine.
Anyway,
this is how we are on the phone, people. This is really how we talk.
No, I'm a lot goofier on the phone. But thank you so much for having me on. I'm sorry about the technical difficulties. You can blame the actual military.
Yes,
it's always to the military. Thank you for ruining my audio and video.
Well, and with that being said, I know I say this to you all the time, but I'm going to say it anyway. My heart and the heart of my show to you, thank you for what you're doing for humanity.
Thank you, Michael. That means so much. Thank you.
You're seen.
I think you're the only one that knows how hard it is, yeah.
Yeah. And you're not alone. And with
you're
that...
Right. And I hope you don't, I hope didn't take that wrong.
Oh, no, I know what you meant, because I have stuff that I don't talk with you either about, because it's hard to put into words.
Yeah. But we all need to start talking about this, because this is reality, not what we've experienced. Everything's been a lie. Big change is coming. Big change is coming.
And the hope that everybody's been asking for is coming.
Actually, it's here. It just has to hit us now.
It's starting. It's starting to hit a few, and it'll trickle into more and more, and flood, and it's a positive flood that they won't be able to stop. That's the power of the people.
Yep, we did it.
So with that, we are going to say good night. Happy Thanksgiving to everyone, and we will see you on the next episode.